Our last category of awards is the Graduate Students for Excellence in Mentoring Awards. And our first recipient is Emily Levy, PhD candidate in biology. And she will be introduced by the Jack H. Neely Professor of Biology, Susan Alberts, Emily's faculty advisor and one of her many nominators. Professor Alberts is also a 2012 Dean's Award winner for excellence in mentoring. Susan?
Thank you, Paula. And I actually want to start by thanking the graduate school leadership for making this happen and for supporting these awards, which I think are so important in recognizing what people do. I'm really delighted to introduce Emily to you today, Emily Levy. I feel so proud and lucky to have had her in my laboratory for 6 years. Emily was one of about 20 prospective students who emailed me about coming to work in my lab in 2016. And although I often don't have time to give more than a boilerplate response, Emily's email really made me sit up and take notice. It wasn't just her stellar academic record that got my notice, impressive as that was. It was her commitment to teaching and mentoring, which just leapt off the pages of her application. She described with enthusiasm and excitement how she had peer tutored in college, tutored after college with the nonprofit group New Haven Reads, while she was a Sarah Sparrow Fellow in Neuroscience at Yale. And then she spent a year with AmeriCorps as a science field instructor in Grand Teton National Park. She talked about how important mentoring and teaching were to her, and I expected that her abilities and her value system would really come to the fore in graduate school, and everything I suspected turned out to be true. She kept up her impressive record of mentoring and teaching in programs that involved folks from middle schoolers to Duke undergraduates to her fellow PhD students and to senior retirees in the community. For example, one of her really impressive and extensive projects in science education and outreach was with the program GALS, Girls an Outdoor Adventure for Leadership and Science, which she co-founded here in North Carolina with another PhD student at Duke. GALS is an outdoor science and leadership school that recruits middle school girls from underrepresented groups in the Triangle to a 2-week backpacking trip in the North Carolina wilderness. And Emily and her co-leader, Jackie Gerson, were a 2-woman wonder team, developing curricula, raising money to support the students, and working with the Duke administration to make sure the program was official. As a Duke PhD student, she mentored no less than 7 undergraduates in independent studies, a record that surpasses many early career assistant professors at Duke. And the undergrads loved her. They flocked to her. She showed such empathy and kindness and enthusiasm and compassion, and a go-for-it spirit that really just makes her a natural leader. Several of her students completed honors theses, and several already are or will soon be co-authors on scientific papers. If that wasn't enough, Emily, for the past several years, she's taught classes in the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Duke for adults interested in continuing their education, and that's where she's touched the senior citizen community. Overall, one of the things that has always struck me about Emily is that good mentoring and teaching and collaborative skills seem to be her baseline starting point in any endeavor. For her, it's the natural place to begin rather than a place to arrive at. And many of us have been very lucky to have her with us at Duke and learn from her in those skills. Emily?
Thank you, Susan. That was really, really nice. And yeah, I'm just really honored to receive this recognition and to have gotten to work with such incredible students for the last 6 years. I'm really grateful to the leadership of the graduate school, as Susan said, and to the biology department for supporting so much of the work that I've done with these undergrads, and also to the Muser program, which has done an amazing job facilitating research connections between graduate students and undergrads. And a huge thanks to Susan, who's my PhD mentor and advisor, for being an incredible role model as I learn and grow as a mentor. It's like learning by example is the easiest way to learn. And to mirror Emmeline's sentiment, I think this recognition is so meaningful to me because mentorship is something that I value and enjoy so much, and something I want to continue to do and improve on. And I think a main reason why I love doing science is because it's sort of inherently collaborative and requires a lot of people and teamwork. And working with others and building those relationships is something that I get a lot of enjoyment from. So I've had a lot of fun and learned so much about science and mentorship from the Duke undergrads that I've gotten to work with. And I'm really thankful for the brain power and time and effort they've put into our work together. And it's just really fun to watch these students take off and soar the last few years as they've graduated. And I'm really excited to continue to do science with more undergrads and build those supporting relationships going forward. So thanks.